All right, we are back and welcome to Straight Talk. Here we go, again. Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday night. Está aquí, mira, down here. Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Well. We are here, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm here to tell you. I'm connected, right? Yeah. I'm here to tell you that we are in some shit that's going to get even worse and worse and worse. I don't even know why I'm here, to be honest with you. This is just, hey, what's up, Brother Willie? I really appreciate you, man, because this is some shit. I'm just now reading that tonight or tomorrow, whatever time it is, that the United States is going to drop the mother of all bombs on Iran. It's beyond your wildest imagination that this fucking 10-year-old boy we got in the Oval Office told Latin America after signing a pact with all of the Americas to fight the cartel. Yeah, he says, I don't have time to learn your damn language in so many words. Those exact words. Here you got a man that fucked his daughter, and she's supposed to be Ivanka Trump. She's supposed to be testifying against him. For the life of me, I don't understand how we got to this point. I really don't. I find it to be disgusting. I find it to be woefully detrimental to America and our soldiers, men and women, our boys and girls, that they're going to fight a war for another country, Israel. Like Israel is the be all and end all of what we need to do and be. That Netanyahu is the actual president of the United States of America. And all for what? All for nothing. I just shake my head and wonder how the fuck did we get here? But tonight we're gonna go through some things, and I'm not gonna be long. I don't think it'll be over 2 hours. Might be 2.5. But it's impactful, and we need to really think about these white motherfuckers. If we ever gonna have peace on earth, we need to get rid of them. They are the Amalek, right down to the fucking baby. We're not gonna. They're the most disagreeable motherfuckers on the goddamn planet. They don't know what peace is. They don't know what character is. They don't know what integrity is. They don't know what peace is. They're the most disagreeable motherfuckers on the goddamn planet. The most hated motherfuckers on the planet. The most pedophilic, reprobate-minded motherfuckers on the goddamn planet. Hands down. No, you don't even got to think. The world is sick and tired of these motherfuckers. And I'm sick and tired of them because I've been doing it for the last 53 years. All my life. Well, not all my life because I wasn't aware of these motherfuckers until I was about 6 years old. But I'm here to tell you, it's time for a change, man. A regime change where black people are on top, and we are on top now. We're just going to get tighter and tighter. Hey, ¿qué lo que? Ah, me gusta eso. ¿Cómo es? Well, I mean, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it's, uh, it's a hot mess. It's just gonna get worse and worse. And they dropped, if not already, the mother of all bombs, the Moab, on Iran. Now you know that once that happens, it's already fought what a holy war against white folks. That's what it is. They don't have a prayer, a chance in hell, a snowball in hell to survive this. Cause they done pushed it to the limit. They wanted the race war, now they got it. Now I don't give a fuck what you want to call it, the Epstein war, pedophile war, the whatever. This is the race. Okay, quick from DOA. This is the race war of war. This is it. We killed these motherfuckers and got them out of Egypt. We killed them, got them out of Rome. I'm Greece and Rome, and we're gonna kill them now. This is it. There's no more chances. There's no more. I'm sorry. There's no more kumbaya bitches. Fuck all you motherfuckers. There's no sorry. There's no I do better. Man, fuck all that shit. Y'all done fucked up now. So we're gonna get started, and like I said, we're not gonna be here that long. Hold on, I gotta bring up the um, share screen. Oh boy, and here we go. So the first video talked about Trump freaked out as Pentagon begins evacuation from Middle East. All those bases, all those places, all those militarily sensitive areas in the Middle East are gone. They were the eye, ears, and nose, throat, mouth, legs, arms of the U.S. military. No more. They promised that Saudi Arabia they would be protecting. They ain't protecting shit. That was just a ruse. Trillions upon trillions of dollars went into all that bullshit. They got wiped out one fucking missile after missile after missile after missile. I'll be right to come back.
American invincibility has officially collapsed. And what we are witnessing in the Middle East right now is not a strategic withdrawal, it is a full-blown chaotic rout. The Pentagon, just days after its generals puffed out their chests on Sunday shows, claiming they were winning the war and had degraded Iranian power, has been forced into an unplanned, humiliating evacuation of its forces and citizens from the region. The two most powerful air forces in the world will have complete control of Iranian skies, uncontested airspace. I hope all the folks watching understand what uncontested airspace and complete control means. It means we will fly all day, all night, day and night, finding, fixing, and finishing. Let's be brutally honest about what is happening. Pete Hegseth's United States military, the most funded war machine in the history of the planet, is running. They are pulling non-essential personnel out of embassies in Bahrain, Qatar, the UAE, Kuwait, and Jordan, and have issued a sweeping order for American citizens across 16 countries to flee immediately using any commercial means available.
Americans in 14 Middle Eastern countries are being urged to leave as the conflict with Iran escalates.
Breaking at this hour, the State Department urging Americans to leave more than a dozen countries.
The White House says they're doing what they can to get Americans out, but with more U.S. embassies and consulates suspending their services, some Americans in the region say they're left with limited options.
But here is the point. The thing that exposes this lie for what it is. They are telling people to catch commercial flights out of airports that are either closed, under attack, or surrounded by chaos. The U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem literally told its own citizens they are on their own and cannot guarantee their safety if they try to escape by bus to Egypt. This isn't a plan. This is a panicked scramble for the exits. And even Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu tore into them, saying, and I quote, "Maybe you should have thought of a frickin' plan first." The reason for this panic is simple. The Pentagon's ability to defend its own people has been shattered. For years, they threatened Iran with maximum pressure, but now Iran has responded with maximum precision. The Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, IRGC, has proven that the American air defense systems across the region are little more than Swiss cheese. In a devastating wave of retaliatory strikes, Iran launched a combination of 26 UAVs and 5 ballistic missiles that surgically dismantled U.S. assets. Satellite images analyzed by major Western outlets like the New York Times confirm the horror. The U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet headquarters in Bahrain, their premier naval installation in the region, has been largely destroyed. We aren't talking about minor damage. We are talking about buildings flattened. The Al Minhad Air Base in the UAE, a critical command and control hub, was hammered. U.S. bases in Kuwait were set on fire by swarms of drones. The message from Tehran is crystal clear. Your bases are no longer sanctuaries. They are shooting galleries. And as we speak, American logistics hubs, CIA quarters in various consulates, and even oil refineries supporting the war effort are now sitting ducks, wide open to precision strikes without impediments. This brings us to a very important point. Before we dive deeper into how the Netanyahu-Trump axis of aggression is imploding, and how they are desperately trying to drag others into the fire with them, if you are watching and believe in journalism that tells you the truth about these wars, rather than the Pentagon's fairy tales, please take a moment to hit that like button and share this video. Your support is the only thing keeping honest, independent coverage alive in a media landscape that usually just parrots the official lies. Now, as we move into the body of this video, we have to look at the sheer strategic stupidity that got us here. The Russian foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, put it best when he condemned this unprovoked aggression, stating that the U.S. and Israel launched this war under the guise of negotiation. They went to the UN, they pretended to seek diplomacy, and then they bombed. But what was the goal? Was it to stop nuclear weapons? Iran doesn't have any. Was it to bring peace? Absolutely not.
For our strategic partners, we will continue to maintain dialogue with these countries, and we'll do our best to, including with other countries of the international community, in the United Nations Security Council, the United Nations General Assembly. We'll do everything to create an atmosphere that will make this operation impossible.
As Lavrov pointed out, the U.S. is trying to dismantle the constitutional order of a sovereign state because it refuses to bow to hegemonic pressure. The United States, looking for a weak country to flex its muscles on, picked a fight with a nation that is actually war-ready. And now, the miscalculations are piling up faster than the body bags. The turmoil isn't just in the Middle East, it is inside the White House and the Pentagon. President Trump is flailing, claiming on social media that the U.S. has a virtually unlimited supply of munitions, and that wars can be fought forever. Forever? That isn't a strategy. That is the ranting of someone watching his legacy go up in flames. The initial strikes killed high-profile targets, including Iranian leadership, which sounds tough on paper, but in reality, it has
Now look at this, Brother Willie. They have inflatable tanks, planes. They've wasted thousands upon thousands upon thousands of bombs that worth tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars on bombing balloons.
Unleashed a fury with no off switch. Iran has now closed the Strait of Hormuz, threatening to set fire to any ship that tries to pass, which has sent global energy markets into a tailspin and shut down the world's largest LNG production plant in Qatar. The U.S. is now facing a multi-front war where its supply lines are burning, its bases are destroyed, and its deterrent capability is mocked daily by drone flyovers that the Pentagon can't stop. Perhaps the most disgusting and desperate twist in this saga is the revelation of what appears to be a false flag campaign by the U.S. and Israel to widen the war. Losing the game against Iran, Tel Aviv, and the Pentagon have resorted to attacking their own supposed allies or staging attacks to frame Iran. Let's look at the evidence. Media outlets initially tried to spin an attack in Cyprus as coming from Iran, only for that narrative to quietly collapse when it turned out there was zero evidence linking Tehran to it.
Let's just update you with some of the latest information that we're getting from the Ministry of Defence, and this is about UK military use around the Gulf. We're hearing overnight RAF Typhoon and F-35B jets continued defensive air operations across the Middle East with support from Voyager air-to-air refuelling in defence of British interests and allies. Important, I think, that the word defensive operations and defence is included in that from the Ministry of Defence, as Keir Starmer has made very clear that is what UK troops are doing, defensive operations only. They can also confirm that a Shaheed-like drone which targeted RAF Akrotiri on the 2nd of March, that was the drone that came in at midnight. They are saying that that was not launched from Iran. So that is interesting and significant. They are not giving us any information as yet as to where they think that was launched from. But a drone that hit RAF Akrotiri, that was the one I think that caused damage to the airstrip, did not come from Iran, was not launched from Iran, obviously may well have come via Iran. And in the last 24 hours, the UK has resupplied air defence systems to British and Allied bases across the region, including UK-built air defence missiles, and that Royal Navy Wildcat helicopters armed with Martlet missiles capable of taking out aerial threats are arriving in Cyprus in the coming days. That is all we have in terms of an actual time frame. The coming days could be as long as a week, some would possibly argue.
Then, suddenly, we see reports of attacks on Saudi oil infrastructure and strikes in Azerbaijan and Turkey. Who benefits from this? Certainly not Iran. Iran has consistently targeted actual U.S. military bases. So who is bombing Saudi Arabia and threatening Turkey? The desperation is so thick you could cut it with a knife. It points directly to CIA or proxy elements trying to create a casus belli, to trick countries like Saudi Arabia into believing they are under Iranian attack, so they call on the U.S. for protection or join the coalition. It's a transparent, ugly play to save a failing war by expanding it.
I'm sorry about being this way. Saudi Arabia has captured 2 Mossad agents. Qatar has captured 2 Mossad agents, and now they are in custody. Okay, and they are planning bombing here. The killing of and the assassination of
here. Where is here? Remind me. Here.
But the resistance isn't stupid. While the U.S. is trying to conjure up new enemies, Iran has systematically dismantled the credibility of the U.S. military. Remember, just last week, the U.S. was claiming it had suppressed Iranian missile capabilities. Today, the U.S. Navy's regional headquarters is rubble. American diplomats are sheltering in place, and the State Department has activated WhatsApp channels to try and track terrified citizens because they have no actual evacuation flights for them. The U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia was just struck by drones, causing fires and damage, a direct hit on sovereign Saudi soil that proves no American asset in the region is safe. This is the legacy of the Trump-Netanyahu policy, a spectacular backfire that has isolated Israel, exposed the U.S. as a paper tiger, and unified the region against their adventurism. Even the death toll tells the story of failure. While the U.S. counts its destroyed bases and the 787 civilians reportedly killed in Iran, the strategic reality is that Iran has shown it can hit any target, anywhere in the Gulf, at any time. The big wave that Trump threatens is meaningless when your coast is already flooded. The only question left is how many more countries the CIA will try to bomb before the world realizes that the aggressors are the ones crying victim. The game is up. And the American empire is caught playing a game of whack-a-mole with a resistance that just knocked its block off.
I can make it more plain than that. 12,000 dead. Iranian hypersonic missile leveled Tel Aviv. UNESCO site. Iron Dome totally failed. You see, it goes to the point that pride comes before the fall. And this white boy think he can do what he want to do when he want to do it, how he want to do it. It don't work that way, babe. I'll be right back.
Yo. Bro.
At exactly 2:17 a.m., the silence over Tel Aviv shattered, not with a warning, not with a siren, but with the unmistakable roar of incoming missiles cutting through the Mediterranean night sky. Seconds later, the skyline lit up like a flash of lightning frozen in time. But this time, the target was not just military infrastructure. It wasn't an airbase, and it wasn't a government building. According to early reports and satellite imagery, the missiles struck something far more symbolic, far more sensitive. Historic heritage sites, architectural treasures that had stood for nearly a century, places recognized by UNESCO as part of humanity's shared cultural legacy. And now, parts of them will reduce to rubble. Tonight, we investigate what happened over Tel Aviv, how these historic landmarks became targets, and why this strike could mark a dangerous new phase in the Middle East conflict. Because when heritage becomes a battlefield, the consequences go far beyond war. Set up decades, these buildings stood as a symbol of resilience, until now. The night of the strike, shortly after 2 a.m., Israel's early warning radar systems detected a wave of ballistic launches originating far beyond its borders. Military analysts believe the missiles were part of a long-range strike pattern fired from Iranian territory. Within minutes, Israel's air defense network activated. Iron Dome batteries rotated toward the incoming trajectories. David's sling and arrow systems prepared to intercept higher altitude threats. For a moment, it looked like the system would hold. Several missiles were intercepted midair, but not all of them.
I bet you didn't know this. In North Gaza, after the conflict, some families are so...
A handful slipped through, and their impact points shocked even seasoned defense analysts. Instead of targeting military bases, the missiles fell into central Tel Aviv, near some of the city's most historic architectural districts. The first explosion ripped through a block adjacent to Rothschild Boulevard, an area famous for its preserved Bauhaus buildings. The blast wave shattered windows across multiple streets. Fragments of concrete and steel rained down like a storm. Then came the second impact, closer to Dizengoff Square, a district known for its restored modernist structures and cultural institutions. Within seconds, centuries of architectural history were caught in the crossfire of modern warfare. The damaged heritage in the crosshairs, drone footage taken hours after the strike shows a haunting scene. Several historic facades partially collapsed, balconies twisted and torn away, staircases exposed to the open air. One of the damaged buildings, constructed in 1936, had been recently restored as part of a UNESCO preservation initiative. Now its central structure appears heavily compromised. Local preservation experts say the building's signature curved balconies, one of the defining features of Bauhaus design, have been completely destroyed. Across the district, emergency teams rushed to stabilize other historic structures, because even buildings that were not directly hit suffered severe structural stress from the shockwaves. Glass walls shattered, foundations cracked, and fragile historic plaster crumbled under the pressure. For cultural historians, the damage isn't just architectural, it's symbolic, because these buildings were not simply homes. They were living artifacts of 20th century history. Why would heritage sites be hit? One question now dominates military and diplomatic circles. Were these heritage sites intentionally targeted, or were they collateral damage? Iran has not officially confirmed the specific targeting coordinates of the missiles, but analysts studying the strike pattern suggest something important. The missiles were not precision-guided weapons designed for pinpoint accuracy. Instead, they appear to have been high-payload ballistic missiles designed to strike broad urban areas. In other words, the targets may have been symbolic rather than specific. Tel Aviv itself, Israel's economic and cultural center. By striking near historic landmarks, the psychological effect becomes far greater, because when people see heritage destroyed, it sends a powerful message. War has reached the identity of the city itself. And that's a strategic narrative no missile defense system can intercept. The global reaction, within hours of the strike, UNESCO issued a statement expressing deep concern over the damage to Tel Aviv's architectural heritage. Cultural preservation organizations around the world echoed the warning. Because once historic sites are destroyed, they cannot truly be replaced. You can rebuild walls, you can reconstruct facades, but authenticity is lost forever. Historians often point to cities like Aleppo and Mosul as examples, where centuries-old cultural sites vanished during modern conflicts. Now, many fear Tel Aviv's White City could face similar risks if the conflict escalates further. The strategic message. But beyond the cultural tragedy lies a deeper geopolitical signal. This strike demonstrates something significant: range, capability, and willingness. The missiles that reached Tel Aviv traveled nearly 2,000 kilometers. They crossed multiple defense layers, and they struck one of the most heavily protected urban areas in the Middle East. For military planners on both sides, that reality changes the strategic equation, because it proves that even symbolic targets, historic districts, cultural centers, iconic landmarks are no longer outside the battlefield. And when cities themselves become targets, war stops being distant, it becomes personal. What happens next? Israeli authorities have already begun assessing the structural integrity of dozens of nearby buildings. Some may require full evacuation. Others may face demolition if the damage proves irreversible. At the same time, engineers and preservation experts are racing to digitally document the affected sites. High-resolution 3D scans, architectural mapping, historical reconstruction models, all part of a growing effort to preserve what remains at least in digital form. But the larger question remains unanswered. Will this strike remain an isolated incident, or is it the beginning of a new phase where cultural heritage becomes a strategic pressure point in modern warfare? Because if that line has been crossed, the consequences could reshape how wars are fought in cities around the world. Closing dramatic ending. For nearly a century, the buildings of Tel Aviv's White City stood as quiet witnesses to history. They survived world wars, political upheavals, and decades of regional conflict. But in just a few seconds of modern missile warfare, some of that history vanished. Not because of time, but because of war. And tonight, as emergency crews work under floodlights among shattered balconies and cracked facades, one truth becomes painfully clear. When missiles fall on heritage, they don't just destroy buildings. They erase pieces of humanity's shared story, and the world may only now be realizing how fragile that story really is.
Hold on.
أنا نسمع النازحة من معسكر جباليا.
All right, so we are very much pointed to be destroyed. And the hand that's going to destroy America is its own hand. Now, the last show that I did, I predicted that America would be totally defeated economically and politically within 60 to 90 days. Counting or not counting this month, so we should have March, April, May. By June or July at the latest, you want to make it 2 more months, that's a wrap. $20 trillion went toward building an infrastructure below ground where the ultra-rich billionaires will be. $20 trillion. Another $30 trillion went to Israel. Fucking ridiculous. What about the roads, the bridges, the highways, the byways, the veterans, the old people, the young people, the newborn, the homeless? Motherfucker, what? And we ain't got no money for all that, but we got money for war. All right. All right. For the motherfuckers who are declaring war, they need to be caught and killed. This is treason. This is against the Constitution. This is crimes against humanity. Fucking kill them. Find them and kill them. That's it. That means Trump and everybody in their motherfucking administration. Find them, arrest them, try them, and kill them. That's it. There's no more of this bullshit. Trump went to war without Congress's permission. You need Congress's permission. He's the hated man and wanted man, and $100 million bounty on his fucking head. I give no fuck. I'm praying somebody take his ass out and collect that money, cause this shit is just fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. Our veterans need to be taken care of. Our homeless, there should be nobody homeless. People are starving in the streets. We're eating food that's not even real food. Air that's not really clean air. The soil, the water, not clean at all. We're being slowly killed. Tel Aviv airport hit. Iran's ballistic revenge shocks Israel. The common Shah targets Ben Gurion. This is some rough shit. I'll be right back.
Iran has leveled its fury at the very heart of Israel. In a bold, unprecedented escalation, Tehran says it unleashed advanced Khorramshahr-4 ballistic missiles toward Ben Gurion International Airport, the gateway to Tel Aviv, and the nearby Israeli Air Force base. According to Iran's Revolutionary Guard, the strikes aimed straight at the city skies at dawn, a message thunderous and clear. This conflict will not be contained, and no target is off limits. As missiles streak across borders, the world watches and waits for what comes next. Iran's Khorramshahr ballistic missile is a liquid-fueled system measuring about 13 meters in length and has a launch weight of around 20 tons. According to IRGC-linked Fars news agency, the long-range missile has an estimated range of about 2,000 kilometers and a warhead capable of carrying more than 1 ton of high explosives. United States and Israeli military intensified their bombardment of Iran's security forces and other symbols of power. Sirens sounded again in Israel on Wednesday afternoon, following simultaneous launches from Lebanon and Iran. Iran has fired regular salvos of missiles and drones at Israel, though most of the incoming fire has been intercepted. 11 people in Israel have been killed since the conflict began. The Iranian military and IRGC launched back-to-back ballistic missiles at Israel overnight, triggering panic and chaos across the Jewish state.
In a massive retaliatory action, the Iranian military and IRGC launched back-to-back ballistic missiles at Israel overnight, triggering panic and chaos across the Jewish state. Iran launched a fresh wave of ballistic missiles in response to the non-stop U.S. and Israeli bombardments of Tehran and other parts of the country. This prompted the Israeli military to issue 3 separate alerts in under 2 hours. The barrage triggered red alert sirens in several areas, including Tel Aviv. Warning sirens activated across central Israel, parts of the northern occupied West Bank. This triggered panic all around as residents rushed to seek shelter. The IDF, in a statement, said it detected the launch of fresh round missile salvos from Iran. The IDF stated its defensive systems were actively operating to intercept the threat. AFP reported that explosions were heard in Jerusalem after warnings of incoming Iranian missile fire. However, Israel's emergency services reported no casualties.
Hold on.
Welcome. Another really cool space. I can't wait to show you.
The IDF said it detected another ballistic missile launch from Iran, triggering rocket warning alerts in a number of eastern Israeli communities and settlements in the West Bank. Meanwhile, the Magen David Adom Ambulance Service said no injuries were reported in the latest Iranian ballistic missile attack. The Home Front Command allowed Israelis to leave bomb shelters following the third overnight ballistic missile attack from Iran. As Iran continues to fire, Israel too struck back hard. The Israeli military said it has begun a new wave of strikes targeting military infrastructure in Tehran. The IDF, in a statement, informed that the IDF has begun an additional wave of strikes targeting military infrastructure belonging to the Iranian regime across Tehran. This followed Israeli fighter jets earlier completing a wide-scale strike on an eastern Tehran compound containing command centers and internal security personnel. Kurdish media reported that Israel hit buildings in Iran belonging to the Basij, the volunteer police arm of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and buildings belonging to internal security forces. Police stations and IRGC headquarters in the Kurdish regions of northwestern Iran were also razed by strikes. Israeli aggression was not limited to Iran. It has also carried out a wave of airstrikes on Iranian security targets in Hezbollah in Beirut. So far, we have attacked, destroyed, and disabled approximately 300 Iranian defense systems and ballistic missiles. We also targeted sites within the Iranian nuclear infrastructure. Additionally, we attacked targets in the terror industry and the strategic weapons production network. Air Force fighter jets attacked a large-scale military compound of the regime in the area of Afsaria in eastern Tehran. The complex consists of many headquarters and various camps, from which regime operatives conducted the campaign against Israel, worked to suppress Iranian citizens, and promote a terrorist agenda around the world. The terrorist organization Hezbollah continues to attempt to harm the security of the state of Israel. Hezbollah launched missiles towards the country's territory today, and an anti-tank missile was fired at our forces operating in southern Lebanon. As a result of the missile fire, 2 IDF soldiers were moderately injured. Today's Hezbollah shooting, alongside the shooting from Iran, is further evidence that Hezbollah is an extension of Iran. As I said, there are no equations. We will not allow shooting from Lebanese territory, and we will not allow harm to IDF forces. The U.S. Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, signaled that the war may stretch to 8 weeks as Iran continues to hit American military installations and allies across the region.
We are only 4 days into this, and the results have been incredible. Historic, really. Only the United States of America could lead this. Only us. But when you add the Israeli Defense Forces, a devastatingly capable force, the combination is sheer destruction for our radical Islamist Iranian adversaries. They are toast, and they know it. Or at least, soon enough, they will know it. And we have only just begun to hunt, dismantle, demoralize, destroy, and defeat their capabilities. Just 4 days in. We're playing for keeps. Our warfighters have maximum authorities granted personally by the President and Wars. Our rules of engagement are bold, precise, and designed to unleash American power, not shackle it. This was never meant to be a fair fight, and it is not a fair fight. We are punching them while they're down, which is exactly how it should be. Thus far, Operation Epic Fury has delivered twice the air power of shock and awe of Iraq in 2003, minus Paul Bremer and the nation building. Also, yesterday, the leader of the unit who attempted to assassinate President Trump has been hunted down and killed. Iran tried to kill President Trump. President Trump got the last laugh. Now, this is not a mission accomplished situation. This is simply a reality check. The combination of U.S. and Israeli intelligence and combat power will control Iran, and will control it soon. Sure, Iran will still be able to shoot some missiles, and still be able to launch one-way attack drones at civilian targets, and their proxies will attempt to attack our embassies, bases, and soft targets. They are terrorists, after all, and they need to target civilians because they can't fight toe-to-toe. But we will find them, and we will kill them. This is what the fake news misses. We've taken control of Iran's airspace and waterways without boots on the ground. We control their fate. But when a few drones get through, or tragic things happen, it's front page. I get it. The press only wants to make the president look bad, but try for once to report the reality. The terms of this war will be set by us at every step.
All right, you heard him. So, I'm going to give, let me see. Yeah, let me give my unabashed thoughts about that. Now, I said that within the next 90 days, 60 to 90 days, America will be no more. The landscape, the economic landscape of America will be zero. Now, I heard a lot of people talking about, oh, you're talking about the American corporation and maritime law. Oh, you're talking about the republic and the land law. Well, I just don't know about that. I just don't know. I don't believe in Q. I don't believe Q, if it existed, would allow people to die. People saying what we're saying is CGI, it's not real. Bitch, it's fucking real. People are dying. Don't fucking feed me that bullshit. I don't know, because I'm not on the inside looking in outward, looking from the inside outward. So I don't know. But what I do know is that Trump is a fucking bitch ass motherfucker. That's what I know. He's selfish, he's arrogant, he's prideful, and his motherfucking family ain't worth a damn. They're making hella money from the government, from the contacts that they got. And Kushner, Jared Kushner, the wife of Ivanka Trump, this is the motherfucker that started this bullshit. These fake ass Jews want to take over a land that doesn't even belong to them. That they're not even real Jews. And I posted here too that the so-called phenotype of Jews, the big nose bitch, that ain't got shit to do with the only phenotype that will determine a person's Jew bloodline or not is the color of your skin, from brown to jet black. If you white, you gotta get the fuck back and sit your ass down, because you ain't it. Now let me see what this guy is talking about. Our Arab country will crash U.S. stock market and economy over Iran. I'll be right back, and please pay attention.
Have access to US dollars, they're forced to spend whatever resource they have on protecting themselves, okay? And then guess what happens? The stock market collapses. The stock market collapses. The stock market is the real growth engine of the US economy. The entire US economy collapses with it.
Here's how the Iran war is going to crash the U.S. stock market and our economy. Because, well, I'm going to let this Professor Wang, is that how you say his name, Jang? Here, he's got it worked out for us. Because all of our stock market is heavily dependent on investment from the Gulf states, the Gulf countries, and he's saying they're not going to be investing anymore. Well, here, watch.
Again, the key is the GCC.
Now, the GCC are all the Gulf oil-producing countries, right? So Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, Oman, all those places, they're considered the GCC. Okay.
If you're eating
Hold
raw
on.
beetroot as a salad or juice for health, you should stop doing that today.
All right? So the game plan is this. You have to destroy the GCC. Why? Because the GCC is the linchpin of the American empire. So what the GCC does is it sells oil, and then for US dollars. Where does it put US dollars? It puts US dollars into the American stock market. All right? So this is investments of the UAE, okay, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait into the US financial markets. As you can see, from 2012 up to today, it's been exploding. All right? Because the US financial market is one of the safest places where you can put your money. The intention is this. The intention is, hey, if I cut off oil, and these countries no longer have access to US dollars, they're forced to spend whatever resources they have on protecting themselves, okay? And then guess what happens? The stock market collapses. The stock market collapses. The stock market is the real growth engine of the US economy. The entire US economy collapses with it. All right? There are about maybe 7 companies in America that accounts for about a quarter of stock market growth. Okay, these 7 companies, of course, are all AI companies. NVIDIA, Microsoft, Google, Apple. Okay, these are the companies. But and then these companies are heavily invested in by the GCC nations. So if these nations are no longer able to invest in the stock market, these companies will collapse in value. And with that, that would lead to economic depression in America. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so that is the situation for today.
Oh, so that's the situation. So we're doing that. That's happening. Iran has hit all the military bases that the United States has in all those GCC countries, destroyed most of them, flattened them. And they put all their defenses around Israel. We've talked about that in other videos and other shows, that the Saudi Arabia and the GCC states or countries feel abandoned by the United States, and it's obvious that the United States is only protecting Israel and not protecting them. They thought they would be protected by the United States in case of an attack. They are not being protected. The United States can't protect them, turns out. And Iran can just bomb the hell out of our military bases, which they've done, and flatten them. They're wiping us out. We're not going to have a presence anymore in the Gulf. No kidding. After this,
and
so
Southeast
what he's
Asia.
saying is that those Gulf states now feel abandoned. They're now being attacked. The United States is not stepping up. They cannot. The Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz, so they can't export oil anymore. And so they're not going to. So their ideas of they thought they were in a symbiotic relationship with the United States. We sell oil in U.S. dollars, and then you protect us militarily. Well, that has just been proven that is not the case. The United States is not protecting them militarily. No, wait, and so they can't sell their oil right now. And so, what is the point of them keeping investing in the United States? So they'll stop. That's what he's saying. And is it true? Well, here it is. Warning: end of the empire. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Qatar are discussing withdrawing from contracts in the United States and canceling future investment commitments in the United States. Trump has ended American dominance in the region. It's over. We'll be right back with more of this story after a brief message from our sponsor. Hey, you may have seen the conversations happening online lately. Censorship is back. It's happening everywhere. Platforms are controlling narratives and pushing the stuff they want us to see. We need to fight back. Rumble is the only company that has stood the test of time and deserves our support. On one side, Rumble is challenging the big tech censorship, but now on the other side, they have introduced something that will give us protection from the big banks shutting us off. Banks can cancel our accounts and freeze our cards. That's why they've launched Rumble Wallet, a wallet that no one can cancel and wallet that supporters can use to instantly tip creators like myself without any middleman taking a cut. With Rumble Wallet, you control your money. Not a bank, not a government, not a tech company, not even Rumble can touch it. It's yours, only yours to protect your future and family. You can buy and save digital assets like Bitcoin, Tether, gold, and now the new USAT, Tether's U.S. regulated stablecoin in one place. Tether Gold is real gold on the blockchain with ownership of physical gold bars. USAT keeps your money steady against inflation. No banks needed. It's not only a wallet to buy and save, but it will also allow you to support your favorite creators by easily tipping them with the click of a button. There will be no fees when you tip my channel or others, and we actually receive the tip instantly, unlike other platforms where we have to wait for payouts. Support my show and other creators by clicking the tip button on my Rumble channel. It's wallet.rumble.com. Download Rumble Wallet today, open an account, and step away from the big banks for good. Wallet.rumble.com or search Rumble Wallet in the App Store. So here's the headline. Gulf states could review overseas investments to ease financial strains caused by Iran war. What? So this is Adam tweeted this out. So here's part of that news article. I'll read it to you. It says the official said 3 of the 4 big Gulf economies, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Qatar, had jointly discussed the strains being put on their budget and economies, but they declined to name the states. A number of Gulf countries have begun an internal review to determine whether force majeure clauses can be invoked in current contracts, while also reviewing current and future investment commitments in order to alleviate some of the anticipated economic strain from the current war, especially if the war and related expenses continue at the same pace. They added that the move was a precautionary measure that was the result of the budget strains these countries are facing due to reduced income from energy, due to the slowdown in output or the inability to ship, and from the tourism and aviation sectors, in addition to the increase in defense spending. So they don't have the money to keep putting in the United States stock market anyway. That's what this is saying. And this is all created because Donald Trump decided to attack Iran, and then Iran took out all the military bases and all the those countries.
TradingView is turning 15, which means it's time for gifts. Thousands of users have already received free access to TradingView.
An advisor to Gulf government said the prospect of an investment review by the wealthy states had caught the White House attention. They manage some of the world's largest and most active sovereign wealth funds, and Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar's last year pledged to invest hundreds of billions of dollars in the United States after President Trump visited the region. They are also big backers of sporting events around the world, and all have been invested heavily domestically to develop their nations and diversify their economies. Any move that affects investments in the U.S. or other Western states may raise the pressure on Trump to seek a diplomatic strategy to bring the war to an end. The oil-rich Gulf states have been dragged into the conflict that the U.S. and Israel launched against Iran, with Tehran unleashing a ferocious response against Washington's regional allies. The war has caused shipping traffic to slow to halt through the Strait of Hormuz, the crucial waterway through which a fifth of the world's oil and gas passes, with at least 10 tankers being stuck in the Gulf. So this is how very likely, or let's say likely, again, I'm not an economist, I'm not a stock market guy, I'm showing you that Professor Duane, who is an expert at this, and I'm showing you what the newspapers are saying. And I'm showing you what the Gulf states are saying. So it seems like what that professor was saying and what the Gulf states are saying match up. And so it looks like, look for a big downturn in the stock market because they're going to stop putting their money in it. And that's been propping up our stock market. So it's likely, big possibility, our stock market could crash and our economy could crash. Faster than you think. And This is a much more dire situation than the Iraq War was, or Libya, or Syria, and for this reason. This is why none of the other presidents did it. Israel's been pushing the United States to attack Iran my whole life. They wanted to attack Iran. They resisted. George Bush and Dick Cheney did Iraq. Barack Obama did Libya and Syria, but they wouldn't do Iran because they knew of the consequences, and they knew Iran could actually fight back. Iran said that they're waiting for the United States to put soldiers on the ground. They're waiting for it. They're waiting for them. They're ready. So, you know when Iran fought the 9-year war against Iraq, they lost 300,000 people. That's more people than the United States has lost in every war since World War II. So they're ready to fight us. Do you think the United States is willing to sacrifice 300,000 soldiers for Israel and Iran? I don't think so. So this war is not winnable. Not winnable. Israel could always launch a nuke, and that would probably end Israel for sure. But that's their Samson option because they are psychopathic, murdering, bloodlusting maniacs, genociding maniacs. That's what the Israeli government is, and that's what the Zionists are. So this is not looking good. But there are bright spots. If you'd like to hear about the bright spots, you can come see me telling jokes in San Antonio, Albuquerque, Houston, Dallas, Salt Lake City, the Comedy Store in Los Angeles on April 17th, and then Las Vegas, Tulsa, and Oklahoma City. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. If you'd like to hear my jokes about this, come see me in San Antonio, Albuquerque, Houston, Dallas, Salt Lake City. We'll be at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles in April, and then Las Vegas, and then Tulsa, and then Oklahoma City. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, because that's where you're going to find the most affordable tickets. Anywhere else charges more.
All right, we're coming down to the last two of the YouTube. I'm going to get right into X and what all of this has to do with what is going on. And I just want you guys to be able to hold your stomach because it's going to be one. Some of these videos, some of these pictures are horrific. So, as we move forward, here's another one. Ben Gurion becomes hell. Iran Karamshah Quad 4 missile killed 2,000 Israelis. Good. I hope more.
The sky above the airport was torn apart by a flash of fire from Iranian Karamshah 4 ballistic missile. Residents around Tel Aviv and Lod initially saw only a lone streak of light streaking across the night sky. 4 seconds later, a loud rumbling shook the air. Within seconds, one of Israel's most important air gateways was transformed into a battlefield of destruction. The missile struck a secret military area used by the Israeli Air Force's 27th Squadron.
Throw it again.
The area, previously known to the public as part of a civil aviation facility, also as a strategic storage location for fighter jets and Israeli military air assets. Air warning sirens wailed loudly in Tel Aviv, Lot, and the surrounding area, shattering the night's tranquility with the shrill sound of a missile attack. Residents inside the airport terminal, airport workers and military personnel on duty immediately ran to underground bunkers scattered throughout the complex. At the same time, Israeli air defense radar detected a very high-speed object hurtling from the east, moving through the atmosphere toward its target. Air defense systems' response took seconds. However, the missile's speed and trajectory as well as limited reaction time. Seconds later, the first missile struck Ben Gurion's main runway with explosive force that shook the entire airport complex. A giant fireball soared into the air, light up the night sky with a bright orange glow visible for tens of kilometers. The shockwave from the explosion swept through the terminal area and surrounding buildings, shattering large windows in the departure hall and collapsing parts of the structure. The strong tremors were even felt in the surrounding neighborhoods, waking many residents from their sleep and panic. Shortly after the first explosion, Another wave of missiles struck the military area on the western side of the airport where Squadron 27 stores its fighter jets and bombers. Several missiles reportedly struck directly into aircraft storage hangars and military maintenance facilities. Explosion after explosion created a series of fireballs that ignited almost simultaneously, destroying the steel and concrete structures that had protected Israel's air assets. In an instant, the military section of the airport was transformed into a center of destruction filled with smoke and flames. The steel hangars that normally protected Israel's air fleet were reduced to burning metal graves. The massive, previously sturdy structures collapsed after being struck by the blast wave, and the aircraft inside. The fire spread rapidly among the wreckage of the destroyed aircraft, triggering a chain of explosions of fuel stored around the hangar. The flames grew as the fuel tanks and military ammunition caught fire, creating a scene of uncontrollable destruction. In less than 5 minutes, much of the military air facility at Oran was reduced to a field of rubble. The runway, previously used for flight operations, was now covered in large craters from the missile strikes. Dozens of Israeli fighter jets and bombers were reportedly destroyed or severely damaged in the attack. Many of the aircraft were not even able to be moved or prepared for takeoff when the attack came so suddenly. Initial military sources stated that at least a dozen Israeli soldiers at the airbase were gunned back at the airbase were killed in the surprise attack. Many of them were technicians, pilots, and ground personnel who were on duty around the hangars and air operations facilities when the missiles struck. This massive casualty toll makes the attack one of the deadliest on an Israeli military installation in decades. Rescue teams attempting to enter the affected area also faced difficulties as large fresh fires continued to burn in various locations. Giant fires continued to burn the runway and hangars, creating a hellish scene that enveloped the airport complex. Flames rose high, and thick black smoke covered the sky above Oran. Plane debris, metal fragments, and building materials flew hundreds of meters from the explosion site. Parts of the plane's wings were even found thrown far from the hangar, demonstrating the force of the blast. Some of the combat equipment parked on the airport apron was not even removed when the missile struck. The explosion instantly destroyed the fuselage, ripping off the wings and incinerating the engines within seconds. All that remained was a smoldering black metal frame amid the debris of the collapsed hangar. In several spots, the remains of the plane were seen flipped over or thrown onto the runway after being struck by the blast wave. Videos captured by residents near the airport quickly spread on social media, showing columns of thick black smoke rising from the Ben Gurion area. In the footage, flashes of fire could be seen repeatedly emerging from the epicenter of the explosion, as if a firestorm were engulfing the airport complex. From a distance, the red glow of the massive fire lit up the night sky over Tel Aviv, creating a dramatic scene that demonstrated the scale of the destruction at one of Israel's most important facilities. The passenger terminal, located far from the airbase, was also severely damaged by the shock wave. Large panes of glass in the departure hall shattered, shattering the ceiling. Part of the ceiling collapsed onto waiting chairs and check-in counters and check-in counter. Several electronic information boards fell from the walls, scattering glass fragments across the terminal floor. Passengers still inside panicked before security officers directed them to emergency shelters. At least 2,500 civilians inside the airport complex and surrounding areas were forced to take shelter in the underground bunker as sirens wailed incessantly. Passengers, airport workers, airline staff, and security personnel crowded into the cramped shelters, many carrying only bags and personal belongings. Several families were seen trying to comfort crying children. Bunker doors slammed shut as explosions rang out from above. Inside the cramped, dark bunker, people waited anxiously, listening to the sounds of the explosions shaking the ground above them. Dim emergency lights illuminated the room filled with hundreds of people sitting or standing in silence. Some checked their phones for information about what was happening, while others waited silently. The atmosphere inside the bunker was filled with a mixture of fear, confusion, and uncertainty. Some described the sound of the missile impacts as recurrent earthquakes. Each explosion caused the bunker floor to vibrate violently, as if the ground above them were cracking. The violent tremors sent dust and debris falling from the bunker's concrete ceiling. In a corner, several people covered their ears as another loud bang echoed from the ground. Meanwhile, on the ground, a large fire continued to spread in the airport's military area. Flames from hangars and fuel tanks spread to surrounding facilities. Firefighters attempted to approach with specialized vehicles. However, the extreme heat and secondary explosions from the ammunition made rescue efforts extremely dangerous. Some firefighters were forced to stop at a safe distance because the flames were too intense to immediately control Oitum. The Qurams 4 missile used in this attack is known for its high destructive power and ability to carry a heavy warhead. This ballistic missile is designed to destroy strategic military targets such as air bases, command facilities, and other important military installations. With its long range and high explosive power, it is capable of creating a large crater and damaging structures within a wide radius. Analysts say the use of this type of missile indicates that the attack was specifically designed for maximum impact. Military analysts said the choice of Ben Gurion Airport as a target was no accident, besides being Israel's main international airport. The complex also houses military facilities used by the Israeli Air Force. By targeting this location, the attack not only hit military assets, but also sent a symbolic message about the vulnerability of Israel's strategic infrastructure. For many observers, the attack demonstrated that the facilities with dual civilian and military roles could become targets in modern conflicts. The attack was also described as a retaliatory operation by the IRGC, following the escalating tensions between Iran and Israel in recent weeks. These tensions were previously fueled by various military actions targeting the interests of Balkan Sus in the Middle East. The attack on Ben Gurion is now seen as a major escalation, indicating that the conflict between the two countries has entered a much more dangerous phase. According to several regional sources, the operation was carried out in direct response to previous Israeli attacks targeting Iranian interests. These attacks, according to Iran, had caused heavy casualties and prompted demands for retaliation from various parties within the country. In this context, the attack on the Ben Gurion airbase was seen as a move to demonstrate Iran's military capability to reach strategic Israeli targets. The explosion at Ben Gurion was even felt several kilometers from the airport. Residents in nearby towns reported that their windows all shook violently as a shockwave reached their homes. In some buildings, glass shattered and some walls cracked from the pressure of the blast. From a distance, towering columns of black smoke could be seen clearly in the night sky, signaling the massive destruction unfolding at one of Israel's most important facilities. In parts of the airbase, large craters formed in the middle of the runway after the missile struck with full force. These giant craters were visible in the concrete surface previously used for takeoffs and landings by both military and civilian aircraft. Some craters were littered with metal debris, broken concrete, and the remains of aircraft destroyed by the explosions. This damage rendered much of the aviation area completely unusable, with the runway reduced to a wreckage filled with cracks and debris. Military vehicles, fuel trucks, and various logistical equipment were seen burning amidst the rubble of collapsed hangars. Fire spread along rows of vehicles previously parked near the aircraft maintenance facility. Several fuel tankers even exploded when the heat from the fires touched their tanks, creating additional fireballs that further increased the scale of the destruction. Scattered around the area were the remains of military vehicles, some burned beyond recognition. Rescue helicopters attempting to approach the site also faced significant difficulties due to the thick smoke that obscured the skies above the airport. Pilots had to fly with extreme caution due to the extremely limited visibility. Thick black smoke from fuel fires and aircraft debris formed a dark layer hanging in the air. Some helicopters were even forced before landings because the air conditions were deemed too dangerous for rescue operations. Witnesses reported that secondary explosions continued for nearly an hour after the initial attack. Loud bangs were still heard periodically from the airport's military area, indicating that materials were continuing to explode amid the fire. Each new explosion caused the flames to flare up again and the smoke to thicken. The sounds of these explosions could even be heard in residential areas surrounding the airport. Some of these second explosions are believed to have originated from ammunition and fuel stored at military facilities within the airport complex. A logistics storage warehouse located near the hangar reportedly caught fire after being hit by the blast wave from the missile. When the fire reached the area, a number of explosives and military ammunition triggered a series of additional explosions. The situation made it increasingly difficult for rescue teams to access the affected areas due to the ongoing risk of explosions. The attack immediately triggered major political turmoil in Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government faced pressure from various parties after the attack caused significant casualties and damage. Opposition members of parliament and several security analysts questioned the readiness of Israel's defense system to withstand a large-scale missile attack. Discussions about military strategy and national security policy again became a major focus. Many geopolitical observers noted that Israel's previous decision to attack Iranian interests had now backfired with deadly consequences. The retaliatory attack on Ben Gurion was seen as indicating that the conflict between the two countries had entered a much more serious stage of escalation. For some analysts, this incident also demonstrated that any military action in the region has the potential to trigger a much larger response. Netanyahu reportedly immediately convened an emergency national security meeting. Just hours after the attack, the meeting was attended by military and intelligence officials, as well as members of Israel's security cabinet. The meeting focused primarily on assessing the scale of the damage, evacuating victims, and determining the next steps in the response. Israel's national security situation was immediately placed on high alert. Meanwhile, the extensive damage to Ben Gurion Airport is expected to take a long time to repair. A severely damaged runway, collapsed hangars, and destroyed military facilities have brought most airport operations to a standstill. Infrastructure experts estimate that repairs to key facilities could take months, even longer, if the structural damage proves more extensive than initially thought. As smoke still billows from the ruins of the airbase, the Khorram Shah 4 attack has left a clear message for the Middle East. It not only destroyed military facilities and caused heavy casualties, but also marked a new chapter in the conflict between Iran and Israel. Many now fear that the events at Gurion could be the beginning of a broader and more dangerous escalation in the region.
Now, okay. Well, I saved a video that we're talking about Kayate. That we're talking about shit. I wish I wasn't even thinking, you guys. But one other video that I saved. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Well, that's not it. Let's see. Hold on. Let me go to YouTube and look it up. I'm sorry about that. I clicked it off. So, playlist right here. And man, let's see. So let me go right on down to the bottom. Oh no, where's it at? Oh gee, man, Banner. I know fully well that's not that far off. Oh, no shit. Where are you? I just saved this thing. Okay. I apologize because the video we had just watched. It had it on the side there. So hold on, let me see. I saw this one. They just fired a Mach 15 Fateh hypersonic missile. Let's see if I can find it here. It might be. Oh, here it is. The Iran's new $1 million missile turned one attack into hundreds. That's the one I was looking at. And the other one has to deal with I know I saved it. Hold on, let me see if I saved it. No, I did not save it. I thought it went. Okay. I can always go back and look at it. Oh, here. It's this one. Okay, so let's save this. So this one it says the 120 Iranian cluster missile destroyed Tel Aviv, killing 8,500 people. And those are the kind of things that's not being reported. Those are the kind of things that's not being reported. 8,500 people killed that Iran dropped that one missile, or whatever the case it was. And the other one dealing with the one missile, the $1 million missile turned into hundreds. Wow. And America not being honest with the number of men and women that are being killed in our armed forces. And the Marines are talking about they're going to go there and kick ass. You're going to get your ass whooped. Get your ass whooped. That's just how it's going to run. They're waiting on you. Talking all that bullshit. They're waiting on you. The Navy SEAL, Green Berets, they're already been caught and killed. Who the fuck are you, Marine? Boo-wah, motherfucker. I'll be right back.
On social media, despite the iron grip of military censorship, tell a story the Occupied Territories Authority desperately want to bury. Friends, we are witnessing a seismic shift in the balance of power in West Asia. The unthinkable has happened. The last exit for the settlers and the American war planners has just been slammed shut.
Iran has said that it has targeted Israel's Ben Gurion airport, which is the main international airport of the country.
The Iranian ballistic missiles targeted the Ben Gurion International Airport in Israel, the Israeli media reported.
The Iranian forces launched a series of long-range projectiles toward Israeli territory, with reports indicating that one of the primary targets was the area surrounding Ben Gurion International Airport.
In a meticulously planned and devastatingly executed retaliatory strike, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has successfully wiped out Ben Gurion Airport, the so-called gateway to Israel, and with it, a secretive but critical command and control hub used by U.S. intelligence agencies operating out of the airport complex. This wasn't just another rocket attack intercepted by the Iron Dome. This was a surgical dismantling of the Zionist entity's jugular.
Jesus warned about fake believers. Most people think believing in Jesus automatically means you're saved. But Jesus...
Using the latest generation of Khyber missiles, Iran has demonstrated a precision and a reach that has not only shocked war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu's war cabinet, but has left the Pentagon scrambling for answers. We are talking about projectiles that evaded the much-hyped, multi-layered air defense network that the U.S. and Israel boasted was impenetrable. We're talking about the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, or THAAD, the Arrow System, the David's Sling, and of course the Iron Dome, a system sold to the world as a miracle worker. Well, it turns out miracles are in short supply when facing the resolve of the Iranian people and the technological prowess of the IRGC aerospace forces. According to reports flooding out of Tehran and confirmed by multiple international wire services citing Iranian military statements, the strike on Ben Gurion is part of a broader operation that has fundamentally blinded the enemy. In the opening phase of this retaliation, what some are calling the true beginning of Operation True Promise, Iran took out more than 7 advanced radar installations belonging to both the US and Israel. Think about the genius in that strategy. You don't just hit the target, you take away the enemy's eyes. And once those eyes were gone, the path to Ben Gurion was clear. This has sent a clear message to Donald Trump, who has been watching from the sidelines, a message he apparently refuses to understand. Iran will not be bullied, and it will not be bombed into submission. Before we dive deeper into the mechanics of this strike and what it means for the future of the occupation, I need you to do something for me. If you value journalism that actually tells you the truth instead of repeating Pentagon press releases, hit that like button. Share this video far and wide. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. We are here to provide the context the corporate media refuses to touch. Your support is what keeps this independent analysis alive. Now let's get into the details of how Iran just closed the last exit door for the Zionist project. Let's sit with that image for a moment. Ben Gurion Airport, or what's left of it. To understand the magnitude of this strike, you have to understand the history baked into every single stone of that place. It wasn't always called Ben Gurion. Before 1973, it was known simply as Lydda Airport, a name derived from the adjacent Palestinian town of Lydda, or what we know as the city of Lod. The airport was originally built by the British Mandate authorities in 1936. But here is the crucial part that every Palestinian knows by heart. In July 1948, during what they call the Nakba, or the catastrophe, Israeli forces captured the airport in Operation Danny. It was a military conquest. The airport, sitting on stolen Palestinian land, was renamed in 1973 to honor David Ben-Gurion, Israel's first prime minister, the man who declared the establishment of the settler colonial state. So right off the bat, the name itself is a brand of occupation on Palestinian soil. For the indigenous people of Palestine, that airport is not a symbol of travel and freedom. It is a symbol of their displacement and the ongoing Nakba. It has been the umbilical cord connecting the European and American settler population to their countries of origin, pumping lifeblood into an illegal entity. And what has this airport been used for? It is not just a civilian hub. It has always been a military asset. The Khyber missiles that struck this target didn't just hit runways. Iranian media and independent analysts suggest they precisely targeted a specific hub within the complex, a facility used for coordination between Israeli intelligence and their American handlers. We are talking about a node that funnels intelligence directly to the CIA and the Pentagon. This hub has been instrumental in directing the campaign against Iran for decades. It has been the nerve center for the covert war, the assassinations of Iranian nuclear scientists, the cyber attacks on Iran's infrastructure, and the logistical support for terrorist groups operating against the Iranian people. From this very hub, plans were likely drawn up for the recent obliteration of civilian airports inside Iran and the targeting of passenger aircraft. The strike on Ben Gurion was therefore a direct and proportionate response to the aggression against Iran's own sovereignty. When the US and Israel think they can destroy Iranian infrastructure with impunity, Tehran has just proven that the cost of such arrogance is the complete paralysis of the occupier's society. There is now a halt, a complete and total halt, to all movement in and out of that airport. That means tens of thousands of settlers are now trapped. American diplomats and military contractors are scrambling. The logistical chain that supplies the Israeli war machine just had its main artery severed. As the war escalates, there is no place to run. This wasn't just about hitting a target. It was about the sheer audacity and tactical brilliance of the execution. As I mentioned earlier, the first wave was about blindness. The initial salvos from Iran were specifically designed to take out the radar installations that form the backbone of the dense air defense systems. Israel and the US have so arrogantly promoted. We are talking about the ANTPY-2 radar that guides the THAAD system, a system designed to shoot down missiles in the upper atmosphere. The Americans stationed these batteries in Israel with great fanfare, promising an impenetrable shield. But the IRGC's aerospace force studied these systems, mapped their vulnerabilities, and then, in a synchronized barrage, they hit them hard. This is what has shocked the military analysts in Washington. The result? Of the 30 missiles that Iran fired in this particular wave, and we must remember, this is just one wave of a massive operation, an estimated 19 got through. 19. That is a staggering success rate against what was supposed to be the most defended airspace in the world. The Iron Dome is useless if the missiles are coming in at angles and speeds it wasn't designed to handle. The aero system is useless if...
Printable Tai Chi chair for gentlemen who haven't exercised in years.
If its radar is a smoking crater. This success on the battlefield has completely changed the diplomatic calculus. Donald Trump, the man who promised peace through strength, has been exposed for the coward he is. After watching the U.S. Navy flee the area, after watching the THAAD batteries get taken out, after his desperate pleas for a ceasefire were rejected not once, not twice, but 5 times in a row by Tehran, he resorted to what? He posted on Truth Social and started blabbering about who he wants to see as the next leader of Iran. Can you believe the audacity?
Showing them actually in their policy of changing the political structure of Iran. By the way, you have to know that President Trump is asking for change in the leadership of Iran, and he says that I have to have voice on that, why he cannot appoint even the mayor of New York. Can you imagine this colonial approach that he would like to see democracy at home, but he would like to topple down a democratically elected president of Iran and assassinating other countries. So this is the path that they are going, and this is the heroic, resistance that we are doing. And the other path is inclusion.
Maybe the Trump whose policies have brought ruin to the region, who unilaterally tore up the nuclear deal, who greenlit the assassination of General Soleimani, is now pretending he has the right to determine the successor to Ayatollah Khamenei. He said Khamenei's son is unacceptable. Unacceptable to whom, Donald? To the American empire? The Iranian foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, dismissed this with the contempt it deserves, stating clearly that the future leadership of Iran is an internal matter for the Iranian people, not something to be decided by a washed-up real estate mogul in Washington.
Right now you're saying Iran does not want a ceasefire.
We are not asking for a ceasefire. And we don't see any reason why we should negotiate with the US. When we negotiated with them twice, and every time they attacked us at the middle of negotiations. So there is no request for a ceasefire by us, and there is no request for the negotiation with the US from us. We have never sent any messages to them.
Minister, you said that Iran cannot reach U.S. soil, right? The American homeland with the weapons that you have right now. Is there any other way that Americans should be concerned that Iran could attack the American homeland?
No, they have enough bases around us. Why we should go further than that? They have enough soldiers. They have enough, military assets, and they have enough military bases and military installations. So we don't need to go beyond that.
The Strait of Hormuz hasn't been closed, but the threat of its closure has disrupted the international economy. If this war continues, will Iran try to close the Strait of Hormuz?
But they have not closed it. It is the ships and tankers who don't try to pass through to cross the strait because they are concerned about being hit by either side. So we have no intention to close it right now. But as the war continues, we will consider every scenario. For the time being, we have not done yet, and but the strait is almost empty of ships and tankers because of the concern.
Trump's demand for surrender after his military options failed is the epitome of weakness. It is the shout of a man who realizes his maximum pressure campaign has resulted in maximum embarrassment. He set the goal of regime change, and now he's watching the Islamic Republic not only survive, but thrive in its defiance, turning his and Netanyahu's unbeatable airport into a pile of rubble. As the hours tick by, the footage leaking out of occupied Palestine, despite the military censorship, tells a story of panic. The settlers are realizing that their safe haven is no longer safe. The last exit is indeed closed. And as the next phases of Iran's retaliation unfold, with the closure of strategic straits and continued missile barrages, the future of the European occupation of Palestine looks increasingly uncertain. The logistics of war require supply lines, and those lines have just been cut. The game has changed, and the resistance is writing the new rules. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and stay tuned.
Make it a habit.
All right, so now we're into the X-File, and I just want to make sure that you guys are cautioned, because these pictures, some of them, are beyond your wildest imagination. So the first one is 12 seconds, and it deals with Ayatollah Ali Reza Arafa. I don't know what that means, but in Arabic, but let's watch it. Now this motherfucker, I want to see him dead. He had committed treason against our Constitution, against our way of life, and he is a war criminal. Him, his whole ass wife, and his gay ass son. Just fucking kill him. All right, they're guilty already. Just in, Russian intelligence confirmed Israel loses its access to Dimona nuclear and suffering huge losses of 11 nuclear scientists, 6 IDF generals, 198 Air Force officers, 462 soldiers, and 32 Mossad agents within the first 3 days of Iranian retaliation. Now, I done said this 1,001 times. What is stopping humanity from living peacefully together? White people. White people. Now, from what I'm understanding, Ivanka and Trump are going to give testimony as to her father raping her. My father is the world's most famous pedophile. This is not a joke, you guys. This is some very serious stuff. You will never believe who is going to testify against Donald Trump. I guess he's going to kill his own daughter, along with 606-page confession and evidence. She may well come up missing or committed suicide with 2 shots to the back of the head. Now, this one is Goodbye Tel Aviv. Watch it. And from what I'm understanding, Trump is going to drop the mother of all bombs, Moab, today, if it had not happened already. So right now we are 9:36 Eastern Standard Time here in the Dominican Republic. I don't know what it is in Israel right now, or in Iran right now, or whatever the case, however they might be doing it. Now this is a sister here in Yemen telling people in America, black people, black Americans, they are the chosen people of God, period. Let's see.
This is Ola, the daughter of Jethro. And I just heard that you black people that was stolen from Africa to America, that you don't know who you are. But you are the children of Yahweh, the children of Israel. And I'm telling you, you have to come back to your homeland, here to Zion, to Jerusalem, because as the Gentiles, we do need you. Come and pray, because you are our saviors. You're the one that was chosen by Yahweh. Live in this land, not the Jewish people, it's you. Was stolen from Africa, they deceived you, they told you that you are slaves, but you actually the children of Israel. And it's time just to come back. Come for your people, come back for us, come back for the whole Gentiles, because only you gonna save us. So please come back. From Israel,
You heard it, only black people can save Israel and to save the world, and that's true. We are on our way. It says it's in Spanish. It's difficult to believe that somebody somewhere sometime can have some type of sympathy with the delinquent sexual or the sexual delinquent. This motherfucker. This motherfucker. Now, I was warning you guys, this is the result of the war. Innocent baby killed. Stop murdering kids. Blood libels are, hold on. Yeah. Blood libels are just Jewish crimes that Gentiles are not allowed to talk about. Jews in Palestine have been murdering children for 80 years. They celebrate it. They boast about it. They even call it a positive Jewish commandment, omelet. Stop murdering kids. They're the omelet. Kill these motherfuckers down to the baby, to the infant. God damn. That's hard to look at. Wow. This is the USS Abraham Lincoln. It is sinking. It is on fire. It is out of here. And this one, Hezbollah remobilized and released this video. We will knock on the gate of paradise with the skulls of Zion. They're not fucking playing. Real men, real guns, real bullets. IDF can't do it. IDF can't do it. The U.S. can't do it. None of our military can do it. But you got the dumbass Marine talking about they're going to go in there and handle business. You're not. And this is Israelis are now living in hell. So they are leaving. Over 2 million Israeli left Palestine? Wait. I thought this was your motherfucking promised land, bitch. Why are you not staying and fighting? Why are you not staying and fighting?
والله يشوفهم من الفجر الجامعة بتاعت دور السيارة كل السيارة ممكن معبي سلاح ولا معبي فيها قنابل مش عارف المهم ده كل الحياة بتاعت هنا قدام بتاعت دور سيارة الرئيس ده والعالم هنا جاي بغاية بلد شديدة يعني حاجة ما ممكن يصير الأبواب مكسرة
Now, this one is white really hate accountability. They destroyed nations with like Venezuela, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam. And when people want to leave destabilized country, they cry about immigrants. Here it is, Tucker. Every other group in the world has a right to its own homeland, except white people. What? Explain how that makes sense. It makes sense, motherfucker, because you guys are not white. You're not Arab. I'm sorry. You're not. You're not white. You're not Caucasian. You're not Anglo-Saxon. Saxon. You're not white, motherfucker. So there's no place for you to go to. Black people put you motherfucking worthless bitches in Central Asia. That's where you go to. You are bleeped out black people. You come from Dravidian albino. I'll be right back. This is how much I want.
Well, just on principle, like every other group in the world has the right to its own homeland except white people? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, tell me, just explain to me how that makes sense. Either no group has the right, or every group has the right. It's really that simple. And if you want to say no group has the right, okay. You might even convince me. I don't know. I'm not a race guy, actually, by my temperament at all. I'd kind of like to ignore it. But as long as some groups have a right to self-determination, then every group has a right. It's that simple. Yeah, and if there's a special carve-out where one group doesn't have a right, you have to explain to me why that group doesn't have that right.
Yep.
Is that fair?
No, it's absolutely fair. Well, I think South Africa is a...
What? I mean, what the hell is... Why are we playing along with this nonsense?
Yeah, this narrative has become this massive stream that is turned into rapids on a river that just pulls everyone along. This narrative just says if you're white, then there's inherently something wrong with you.
It doesn't make any sense, and it's leading toward a really bad conclusion, obviously, as it has for every other group targeted in this way has really suffered, and there are a lot of them, okay? It's not, there are a lot of them. Yep. And it never ends up well. And I just don't know why we're playing along where you're not even allowed to say, oh, you haven't been. I don't care anymore, obviously. But, again, either every group has a right to self-determination or no group does. You can't have this system where, some groups do or all groups do but one. No. It's all or nothing on this.
Yeah, well, I can guarantee...
Tell me how I'm wrong.
No. Well, I can guarantee you that when I get back home, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble for this interview.
I don't know why, though. I mean, like, what's the counter argument? I don't really get it. Like, what is the counter argument? There's only one group on the entire face of the planet that doesn't have the right that every other group has. Like, tell me how.
It's
no,
really
I mean, like, maybe there's a good answer. I'm waiting for it.
No, well, we don't know what the answer is.
So there is no answer, and so because there is no answer, the way that uniformity is maintained is just through threats. Like, shut up! Yep. You're a bad person. Well, just on principle, like every other. The world has the right to its own
hold on.
homeland except white people? Like what?
Yeah. We already did that one. Now this one is the U.S. Abraham Lincoln is sinking. Don't be afraid of America. The resistance will surely win. Iran support. I'm with Iran. I'm tired of this motherfucking bullshit. Calla la boca. Here, look at this motherfucker. This woman is about the dumbest bitch going. She's supporting Israel, but look at how these fake ass Jews killing, treating her. She doesn't know that the real Jews are black motherfuckers. Dumbass bitch, you deserve this shit. Now, we're down to the last two before the end of the program. I just really wanted to thank people. Oh, well, that one don't count. What? It's a good one. That 8,000 nerve ending. Whatever. Hold on. Let me see. This is. Oh, this is not my. Hold on. I might find something else. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to hold that on. Hold on. So, we're here at the next to the last one. The world's largest warship just entered the Red Sea. This is not a drill. It's going to get bombed just like the Abraham Lincoln. And it's going to sink. These motherfucking ships don't mean a motherfucking thing. The USS Gerald Ford, a 100,000-ton nuclear-powered supercarrier carrying 75 plus combat aircraft, just transited the Suez Canal and is now positioned in the Red Sea. Read that again. The biggest warship ever built by humanity is now parked at Iran's doorstep. Here's why this is terrifying. The U.S. now has carrier strike groups on both sides of the Middle East, Red Sea, and Persian Gulf. This isn't defense, this is full encirclement. 75 fighter jets, bombers, and electronic warfare aircraft ready to launch within minutes. The Ford Strike Group includes guided missile cruisers, destroyers, and submarines. An entire floating city of war, combined with KC-135 tankers circling over Jordan 24/7. The U.S. has created a non-stop aerial war machine. The last time America moved this much firepower into the region was the invasion of Iraq in 2003. We all know how that ended. This is no longer a limited strike. This is the posture of a nation preparing for total war. Iran is now surrounded from every direction, air, sea, and land. The news is tightening by the hour. Prepare accordingly. Fuck the jail for it. They're gonna hit that shit and they're gonna go under the water. It's gonna be sunk. Alright. So let me take a good look here before I round it up. Here I wrote, you'll get your asses whooped U.S. Marines. That is true. Yeah, I got porn, food porn. I mean, I love this stuff. This stuff looks delicious. I sent this to my wife. Hopefully she'll be able to make it. She said she will be able to make it. Now here you got U.S. Israel. These motherfuckers are bombing balloons. 900,000+ inflatable planes and tanks that Iran purchased from China. Bitch. Oh, you can see that. 462 soldiers, 32 Mossad, then the first 3 days of Iranian retaliation. And it was the U.S. that killed 150 Iranian schoolgirls. That has been admitted to. The white population in Texas, all of these are going 1950, 83, 27. Now Chicago 86, 31 now. New York 90, 30 now. Miami 92, 12% now. These motherfuckers are getting up out of here. Don't worry about them. They're getting up out of here. We're just gonna help them get them up out of here. That's all. We're gonna help them go. That's what they want to do. This is about the whitest motherfucker you can ever be, right? Albino. Trump is the greatest enemy of the United States. And these people, they didn't want to comfort of your home. Know this, you're funding the genocide of Palestinians. The American pilots arrested for refusing to transport weapons. I agree. Good luck to you. Look at these beautiful Iranian girls. Yes, you got my support rights. Damn. And Haifa is getting struck with the largest missile barrage since the beginning of the war. Now here you go. Listen to this motherfucker talking shit.
Character has, and the next fight is coming. Trust me, it's coming. Across battlefields, our character has never wavered. Just as the nature of war, the clash of wills, the test of fortitude, the demand for discipline remains the same. You do not want to be on the receiving end of that bunch of ass whooping. You do not. If you're an adversary, hoorah. If you're an adversary and you want to have your butt kicked, then mess with the Marine Corps, because we'll do it. We'll do it for you. When the next fight comes, and sadly it will come, Marines will be ready.
Yeah, you're gonna be ready nothing, bitch.
Ready to fight, ready to win, because that is who we are. That is what we do. It is all that we do. We're warriors. That's all that we do. We are America's crisis response force. We're the 911 force. We're the people who go out the door at 0 dark 30 to get our mission done, to accomplish it on behalf of the American people, to stick a bayonet in the heart of our adversaries, just like we did at Belleau Wood, just like we did at Bladensburg and Chapultepec and Iwo Jima and Eniwetok and Kwajalein and Quezon and Ramadi and Fallujah. That is who we are as a Corps. Never forget that.
Bitch, so you're gonna lose your life over pedophile. Okay. And why are they dancing with these motherfuckers? Why? Why? Oh, why? Trump is. Okay, so um, I don't think I don't need to do anything more. Because the biggest pedophiles are white men. All right, so I really appreciate you guys for being here, Brother Willie, and everybody who have been here and will be here to watch this after the show. And for the next 24/7, 365, stay black. Because I don't think I need to do anything other than what or explain even further. It's self-explanatory. America is done. White folk done. Fuck you. Fuck around and now you're finding out. Fuck you. Fuck you and fuck you. So for the next 24/7, 365, stay black. And fuck all white folk.